for us to, oh, recording in progress, got it, okay. We wanted it to be about support, service and connection so that we can support each other, we can serve you, we can serve each other, and we create connections so that we can just help each other out. We can guide you as coaches, Sherin and I, or you know, we can do groups together. We can, it's going to sort of, oh, look at my hands going everywhere. Stop it, Louise. We can see how it evolves basically, because we don't know yet, you know. So it's kind of exciting because we're entering the unknown here.
Yeah. Okay, do you think we should just start?
Yeah.
Start, girls.
Well, I just did start.
Yeah, I know, but you know, should we like, okay, so I feel a bit weird like talking to my girlfriends because they know my story, but I suppose I'll talk into talk
yeah,
to
we'll talk to iPhone 102 who we don't know who it is.
Okay, so
oh, that's me.
So really what my intention is for this group, let me just let someone in there.
Oh, somebody else has turned up. How exciting. Welcome, Samantha.
Is to share my experiences, because I am a different person to who I was a year ago, 5 years ago. My life looks different to how it was even 2 months ago. You know, 2 months ago, I was living in South Africa with Laura. We were sharing a flat together with a little girl, and I lived there for 2.5 years, and had a lot of incredible, amazing experiences, and healed a lot of relationships, healed my relationship with myself. And one day when I was meditating, I was doing a meditation, I just asked my heart, what would you love? Like, where would you love to go? And, you know, wherever you go, I'll follow. And I ended up back in the UK, which was, I mean, not that shocking, but it was a bit, because I thought, well, you know, 2 years ago, I thought I'd be in Bali and I'd be going on this round the world adventure. But I ended up in England, and that has just brought me so many gifts. I've created a beautiful apartment. You know, coming back to the UK, if I'd have listened to all the news and the naysayers, I would have been terrified to come back to the UK, and I would have doubted my heart. But as it turns out, I just trust my heart. And so really this group is about following your heart's truth, listening to your intuition, making choices from that space, because Louise and I both have had experiences of that. You know, we are both living our lives completely different to where we were 2 months ago, to who we were 3 years ago, completely changed person. And that's because of the work that we've done. That's because of the processes that we do and the healing that we've done on ourselves. So,
yeah,
you know, it's when you're hello, hi, welcome. So when you're little, we go through the process of conditioning and programming by our parents. And I've had to do a lot of work on, being unprogrammed, unconditioned, and as an adult to decide what belief system I want to, want to live by. What kind of values do I have in my life? Because I'm an adult now and I'm able to choose it for myself. I don't just go on what my parents told me, because when you're little, that's all we have is the environment that we're living in, our parents' story, our parents' dysfunctions, and they know obviously they're doing the best they can. But
and at school as well, schooling and everything that happens to you as a child, it all goes in. And
yes,
then we're viewing our lives through that lens of dysfunction, really, aren't we?
Yes. So it's important to understand why you do what you do. Whose story am I living here? And what really helped me a lot when I'm making choices is to go back. If I feel, I used to be quite an angry person actually, and I never knew where that was coming from until I realized my father was quite an angry person. My mother was a passive aggressive. So I was brought up by quite dysfunctional, in a dysfunctional system, bless them, but they were just doing their best. But I was angry for no reason. I couldn't understand why I was an angry person. And I have to say, from doing all the work that I've done and the process that I've done and healing that wound, healing those dysfunctions, I'm not an angry person. I am in the world from I view the world through a very different lens. And that's because I've gone back into the childhood experiences. And we wanted to create this group as well, is to really, because when people go back into their trauma, it can be quite, they think it's quite stressful, and it's not like, it doesn't have to be that stressful. When you've got a person guiding you that's been through and lived experiences and created and healed their trauma, you know, we want to hold that space for you, for anybody who is courageous enough to want to heal and want to change their lives. It doesn't have to be a stressful, painful process. You know, ask Marlene. I mean, Marlene, if you don't mind, you know, I've been coaching Marlene, and a lot of the situations in her life have been traumatic, but we get through it with grace and ease, and we often have a giggle, we often have a laugh at the end, don't we, Marlene? It's, you know, I mean, if you want to just share a little bit.
I was telling a student of mine the other day, you know, that when I was going the other day, when we were going into my future self, I mean, my higher self, I was like shitting myself because I wasn't ready to, my future self was grabbing me and taking me across this bridge that you were guiding me through. But my old self, my ego self, wasn't ready to go. And then the bloody bridge was going over a gorge. And then and this is all in my imagination, of course. And then the gorge, then this bridge started to break, and it's like, oh my God. And then all of a sudden I just felt my higher self, my future self just grabbed me. And of course, during undergoing the process, I was giggling like hell, you know. So, but I know that through that process, I can't go back. After that moment, I couldn't go back, because I know that I'm on the other side, even if I was, you know, sort of one foot on an oil slick and the other one on a banana peel, but I got to the other side, Sherin.
You did.
Yeah. And that's amazing, because it's like, you know, the fear most people have about self-knowledge or self-discovery is that most people inside themselves feel like there's something bad in there somewhere, you know, like there's always that bad bit somewhere that they don't want to look at, that they don't want to be aware of. And actually it's in that little spot, in that little dark spot within you, or big dark spot maybe, where you find your gold. You know, that's where you find your gold, because it's like in the, I don't know if you, I suppose quite a few of you might have heard of the hero's journey, but in the hero's journey, it's when you get to that cave where the dragon, he's sitting on all the gold inside that cave, and we get to that point where we think, oh shit, you know, I really don't want to go through there because it's dark and it doesn't look very nice, and that dragon looks a bit scary. But once you can go through that portal, it's a different thing. You find your strength, and it heals those things that you have, you know, those traumas that you have from your conditioning, those beliefs you hold about not being good enough, or not being this or that or whatever enough, you know, not being worthy. It heals. It has a healing effect on those beliefs. That's what I have found.
Yeah, and so, you know, when we're little, we get conditioned by, you know, those people who've got their own and their own.
I think maybe if you could mute yourself if you're not talking, because we can hear somebody's stuff scraping about. That would be awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, so, you know, when we get conditioned and we take on the stories, well, when we're actually in the womb, we are intercepting our mother's fears, our mother's desires, our mother's, you know, and the environment around us. You know, I know when I've done processes where I go back into my mother's womb, and then we go unconscious to this. You know, we think, well, this is just how I am. This is just how life is. But you've already been picking up a lot of the environments from your mother's womb, and then you get born. It's quite a traumatic experience to be born, whether you're a cesarean baby or whether you're a natural birth. You come into a sterile environment. Some of us got slapped on the arse. I mean, can you imagine? You've been lying all comfortable in your mother's womb and suddenly, slap on the bum. bright lights. It's noisy because it's been muted in your mother's womb, and now suddenly this is your view of life. You know, obviously back in the day when we had our babies at home, or in you know, in a like a tribe kind of way, that was very different. But if you think about the modern day, the way the children are born, it's very traumatic. So that's already our first introduction into the world, into life. And then we're meaning making machines. That baby is now looking around its environment, and it has to learn very, very quickly how to survive in that structure, that family structure. The mother doesn't have time to teach you everything. And so we are meaning making machines, and we make everything mean something about us and the world around us. And we very slowly lose our spark. We very slowly lose our beautiful, wondrous, spirited greatness. It's, they say that children are born geniuses, and by the time they've got to school, university, there's a very small percentage of genius left there, because it's been
conditioned away,
conditioned out of us. And what I've found in my life, and the way that I use this work, is that I use my emotions. You can use your emotions as a gauge. Here's the anger, feel into your body. What is beneath this anger? Instead of just flying off the handle and accusing everybody in your life for the shit that they're causing, you go into the anger and you go, what needs on being met here? And as a child, I would feel very angry. I felt powerless. I had a father who was quite aggressive with my mother. She was passive aggressive. She never spoke up for herself. So I felt very powerless. And the way that I used that in my life is I would align with powerful people. I married a powerful investment banker. I aligned with the leader of the group that, the natural success course we were in. I didn't feel that I had that power for myself. So that's how that affected my life. And I just was going around unconsciously creating all this drama from a place of powerlessness. So now what I do is I go, right, what am I feeling here? Using my emotions as the gauge, and not getting drawn into the drama of my emotions, not getting carried away, not getting, I use the word hysterical, but we can get a bit hysterical with our emotions, and we allow them to control us. We allow them we're very influenced by our emotions. But so there's always two ways you can look at life, and you can be drawn down that rabbit hole with your emotions and get carried away, and not use that as a tool. And when we get triggered, use it as a tool, because it's coming from a childhood experience. And that's what Louise and I tell people with, we'd go into this childhood experience, you look to see what's there, what created, what started that anger, what was going on, what were you making meaning, what were you giving meaning to, what was your belief around that time about what was going on in your life. So it's very important to be able to have a sense of awareness around that. Why am I feeling this? What needs aren't being met? And then to find out for yourself, and to self-regulate, to be able to heal that wound, so that it doesn't keep coming up again and again and again, unconsciously running your life.
Because those emotions are our body stores them. The autonomic, your body is your unconscious mind. That's what I love about this work. What I love discovering is that your body, I always thought when I started doing this work, and you think about different states of consciousness, we have the self-conscious mind, the unconscious mind, we have the superconscious mind, these different levels of consciousness. And I always imagined them in my head. Because when I think I'm thinking in my head, but becoming aware that actually my autonomic nervous system basically is my unconscious responses. It's programmed in. Sorry, I'm late, Sir Ellis Phyllis says. We'll forgive you. Yeah, what was I saying? Geez. Oh, so the way you normally feel is your experience of yourself, which is coming from the past. And in order to create a new future, you've got to heal those connections. You've got to create new connections in your autonomic nervous system, if you like. You've got to create new connections within your body so that you can begin to feel. Whoops. Hello, could you mute?
All right, I've got it. I've got it,
Oh.
Liz. All right.
Oh, you've got it. Okay, cool. So so that you can create new emotions that you can begin to resonate with, because people feel like they're a victim of their emotions, don't they? A lot of the time we feel like, I can't help the way I feel. I just feel like that because that's who I am. That's what I'm like. But that's all based on the past. And to move forward, we need to be able to create new emotions and new ways of looking at things. And yeah, I think that's a way forward.
Yeah, and you know, there's a big part of our life that is, look, there's what we know, there's what we don't know, and then there's what we don't know, and that's the unconscious. That's the unconscious part of who we are. Like what we don't know. So we have to become aware of that. We have to become curious about, you know, this is about, you know, we as human beings, we are on a journey of self-discovery, and it can be exciting and also can be quite painful, but we've got to learn to move through that pain, because like Lou was saying, on the other side there's gold, and even the shadow. You know, people are very scared to look at the shadow, but the shadow wants to be brought into the light, and there's gifts in the shadow. You know, there are, you know, there's treasure there. We do work with the shaman, and he always says that, you know, there's treasure in and gifts. You've got to be an explorer. It's not a scary thing to want to explore the shadow. It's only scary if we perceive it to be that, if we don't want to see what's there. And a lot of people are scared to look to see what's there. And you can live a very mediocre, very passive life, but we are really here as creators. You know, we are here to create. We're here to live our passion, to live our desires, and it's important that we do that. You know, my sister, she is a very creative person, and she's like, she creates the most. She's could be an interior designer. She sews clothes. She made my curtains when I got married, like incredible curtains. But she's working as a nursery school teacher, which is beautiful, which is lovely, because she's very good at what she does. But she's also a journey therapist, and she's not living her life according to her passion, and she's not happy. You know, if you look at her life, you think, why aren't you happy? But she's not happy, and we are not happy if we're not living our truth, our heart's truth. It's important to live your heart's truth and to not live within the constructs of your mind, because the mind has taken over, and the mind is very limiting unless you know how to use it. But when you follow the desires of your heart, as I have and as Lou has, you know, you follow your heart into the unknown. That is when you have the best adventures. That is when you are surrendering to what is truly possible for you.
Yeah. But in our society, we've been very much brainwashed by science, or what I might call scientism a bit. You know, it's like everything has to be factual, scientific. You know, there's not much room within that for talking about intuition, which is, you know, what comes from your heart is your intuition and a gut feeling. People don't honor that in our world, do they? They don't, you know, generally it's not considered, you know, it's just a women's intuition kind of put down a little bit, you know, because it's not valued. And so we're taught to look at things with our rational minds, aren't we, in school and in university. And, you know, recently I've seen my son go. I had a son quite late in life, had a daughter much earlier, but then I had this son that turned up much later on, and he's just come out of uni and has you know, he's changed. It's like the system that we live in takes away this sort of, like, when he was a little boy, he was so innocent and he could see dead people. He was seeing, you know, spirit around him. He was very open to all of that. And as he's got older and older, I've seen it diminishing and diminishing, because he won't listen to mum, of course. You know, kids don't when they're 26, do they? I don't think I listened to my mother when I was 26 either. But we, in our society, following our heart is like, it's like people use their rational minds to decide what they do, don't they? What job should I get that's going to give me security, that's going to, you know, give me the security I need? Because if there's it's like a fear-based system that we live in, and to turn that around and make it so that it's coming more from your intuition and from your heart, then that's what changes. It changes a lot of things in your life.
You know, if you think about a baby learning to walk, you know, it's that baby gets encouraged by their mother. They you know, you don't say to a baby, oh, well, look, you tried that once or twice, that's ridiculous, just give up now. You know, you keep encouraging the baby to take some more steps, and you go and stand on the other side and you hold your hands out, and you know, you guide them, you support them to come to you. And you know, that's what we need in life, is that we need to talk to ourselves like that, as if we're those little babies, just, you know, encouraging ourselves all the time, because we look outside of ourselves for encouragement, we look outside of ourselves for acceptance and you know, to be valued, to be acknowledged. But we actually need to talk, you know, I do a lot of inner child work, and we need to talk to ourselves as if we are those little babies, you know, taking one step at a time. And another way to, if you want to know what is going on in your internal world, is to look outside of your, you know, look at your outside world, because your outside world is feedback of what is actually going on internally. So, you know, if you're looking outside of yourself and you go, well, I'm looking at my bank accounts, there's no money in there. I'm fighting with my children. I don't have a good relationship with my husband, whatever it is. You know, the internal state, that is what you're projecting, and it's about talking in a way to, what's about how you talk to yourself. It's about what you're thinking about. It all gets generated and creates the environment that you're living in. You know, Joe Dispenza says your personality reveals your personality reveals your personal reality. So if your personal reality is not what you would love it to be, start looking at what you are projecting. Start looking inside and going, right, what is my story here? Is this my story? Is this my mother's story? Is it my father's story about money? You know, my dad used to tell us, listen, I'm the other fella, not the Rockefeller. I don't even know what he was talking about, and that money doesn't grow on trees. And, you know, and then, like, you just got to think back to what was the conversation in my family. Like, this isn't even my stuff. So if this isn't my stuff, if this is my parents' stuff, if this is the conversation that they were having when I was little, then I can start to have a different conversation with myself. I can start to heal that. I can look at it, be aware of it, and make changes in my life. Because that's where you take you know, when you take responsibility for what you're creating, then it puts you in you know, an empowered state. It's like you are in control, because a lot of us feel out of control with our lives. If you look at your life and you go, how the hell am I going to sort this shit out? Or how am I going to, like, always wanting people to change. And if they change, then things will be different for me. But it's always when you change. I mean, I have changed, and your world changes. And I have changed as a person. I'm not even the same person. I even recognized myself when I was married, you know, years ago. My children don't even recognize me. And I'm always on a quest to investigate and explore and transmute my you know, lower frequency into higher frequency information. I'm always conscious of how I feel and what I'm thinking, and I catch myself if I'm using words that are low frequency words, because words are powerful. Words are spells. And you know, you know, Louise and I are like literally just getting into this and being very aware of what is my narrative, what am I communicating? What am I, my narrative is communicating with the universe and the people and the environments outside of me. It's coming from me. So I'm going to take ownership of that. I'm going to change the way I think. I'm going to change the way I feel. I'm going to transcend that. I'm going to transmute that. As you know, that's alchemy. When you change the way you feel, you're alchemizing a low vibration. It's a high vibration. That could be a word. It could be a thought. It could be the way you feel, and use all those things as a gauge to identify a state of being or a belief system. You know, you could choose, you can have your own belief system. I'd say to my clients, just choose some new beliefs. And they go, what? I mean, what can I? Can I actually do that? Yes, you can.
I think the problem. Oh God, sorry, it was all echoing in my ears. Then I think the problem is that, you know, as beings on this planet, we're actually divine beings. We're divine creative beings. We're veiled in flesh and veiled in all the stuff that we've arrived in the world to experience and to work through. And most people don't really realize that they are that divine creative being. You know, it's like, what, me? You know, bullshit. I'm not really a, you know, I can't be that powerful. I'm not powerful, but we are all powerful beings, and everything around us. And that's why when Sharon's saying everything around you in your world is like feeding back to you what you've created, whatever it's kind of, you know, the good, the bad and the ugly, all of it in your world is what you've created yourself, because you are a powerful being. And it's kind of hard to you know, a lot of you say, well, you know, that can't be true because I don't want this shit to happen to me, or, you know, I didn't want that to happen to me. But the truth is that your outside world reflects to you your own fears, your own beliefs, your own hang-ups, your own fears. And, you know, one of my beliefs, one of my overwhelming beliefs is that I don't belong. I've never felt like I belong. And so I found myself in so many situations, you know, like my parents took me to hospital once. Well, 2 times I was taken to hospital and left there, because back in the day, because I'm well old, you know, and back in the day when parents took you to hospital, they weren't allowed to stay with you. They had to go home again. And and so I've been abandoned in this hospital, and thinking, I really, you know, this is confirming to me that what I made up at that point was that I don't belong here. And I found myself in my life moving around a lot, people leaving me, not being part of a group, or whatever, you know. I find that happens to me all the time. And it's not like I'm not nice. I don't think so anyway. but it's kind of, you know, what if you can accept your own responsibility for creating whatever it is in your life, that gives you so much power. It makes you see things and look at things in a completely different way, because it takes you out of that victim state. You know, she does this to me, he says that to me, this person's mean to me, you know, my boss is crap to me. I had one of my clients who her boss at work was always undermining her, not boss, her supervisor was always undermining her. And you know, they would have meetings and she would make suggestions about you know, a way that they could go forward or whatever, their suggestion. And he would always just dismiss it, and then later on come up with the idea as if it was his own. And so, and she was really fed up about it and really upset about it, and it was bothering her, etc., etc. So I said to her, well, try and just imagine it in a different way. Imagine on your way to work, imagine that when you get there, he's your new best friend. Imagine that you really like each other. Imagine that you know that he's friendly to you and all that. So she did that for several days, and it you know, it wasn't really working. And then one day she she called me up and she said, "Oh my God, it worked." Because your imagination is the most powerful tool you have. If you can imagine the way you want something to be, and you can feel as good as if that is already the reality in your world, you can change the way other people respond to you. You can change the way the world responds to you. And it might sound far-fetched to some of you, and it might sound awesome to some of you. I don't know. But that is the truth of who we are. We are so powerful. We don't know our own power. And I mean, I'm saying that not from a point of view of I've cracked it and I'm there and my life is all hunky-dory and brilliant, because I've got shit in my life happening too. But I approach it from a different perspective now, because I know that I have that power. It doesn't piss me off anymore. It doesn't make me upset anymore. It doesn't make me feel like I'm a victim. It doesn't make me feel, you know, like I want to jump off a cliff or whatever. You know, it's like I have a different perspective on it. And in that way, you can really, with this work, take your power back. Because we give it away to our circumstances. We give it away to the person who wasn't nice to us. And we blame them. Nothing is ever anyone else's fault. It's always just a reflection to you of how you are within yourself. And if you can look at that and accept it, which isn't always a comfortable thing, but if you can get over that, it's brilliant. Honestly, it's so, can I use the F word? Maybe not. It's so effing brilliant. Because it changes your whole way of being.
And it's also, it's quite challenging when you're starting out, because you're not always seeing the results straight away. You know, as human beings, we want to see results. We brought up in a what is it called? Instant gratification. You know, it's instant gratification. For our children, it's even worse. But you know, for us, we want things now. We want to see things happening now. And it's, you start to, when there's a shift, and when you're being consistent and you're consistently showing up for yourself and you're consistently communicating messages to the universe, or consistently projecting and a frequency, you know, frequency is information. What information am I putting out into the world? There will be a shift internally, and then that shift reflects, your external world reflects that shift. And then that's when you know, and it's so satisfying. Hey, Lou, it's like so satisfying when something actually happens and you go, oh my God, that has changed in me, because as I'm looking around in my environment, my children are responding to me. My ex-husband is being so nice. I have to go, why are you being so kind? Why are you being so kind? It's because I'm being kind to me, because I'm being loving, because I speak to myself differently. I expect my life to be a certain way. And it's quite hard to hold that, because we're not seeing the evidence. Like, where's the evidence? When I have the evidence, then I'll change, you know, I'll change something within me. But we've got to change that within us to see the evidence, to experience life from us as generators, from us as creators. And so, you know, you start to look around you, and suddenly there's subtle, very slight shifts in your life, but it's all coming from you. And that's what's so beautiful, is like when we start to change the small things, we start to change the small things, the big things start to show up, and we have to be ready to receive those big things in our lives. We have to become that container to receive those big things in our life. So it's the small incremental steps that we take. Sorry,
What's happening?
Yeah, it's the small incremental steps that we take and the small shifts that create a big impact in our lives. But we have to have patience. We have to surrender to what's going on in our lives. We have to, like Louise was saying, you have to just be with what is showing up. And that's the biggest thing for human beings is that we're not able to be with what's showing up because we judge it or we criticize it and we make that mean something. We are meaning making machines. When we start to make things mean something about ourselves, as we did when we were little, then we aren't connected to the spark. We've lost our connection to our higher selves. So I don't know if you want, should we leave it there, Lou, and open it up to questions? And then because Lou wants to do a beautiful meditation, because we're not going to keep you longer than 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in South Africa. Is there anything anybody wants to share about their own lives, any experiences you've had, what we're talking about, or any questions? I think there's a little button where you can like put your hand
up. No?
I need to just see the gallery. Okay. Hi, Alejandro, how are you?
Hi, sorry I couldn't join sooner. I was in a therapy thing.
All right.
But good to see y'all.
You too. Thanks for joining us.
Hello.
Ella, do you want to speak?
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't really too sure like how this was going to run with the format because I was a bit late and I didn't know whether you were wanting people to interject.
We weren't sure either.
That's all right. Go with the flow. That's what it's about.
I think to just have questions and answers at the end if you write down something that you want to want us to talk into or explain, then yeah, I think we'll do that at the now at this time.
Well, for those who didn't join in at the beginning, what I wanted to just say to you is that I can't keep forgetting the what we said our group's about. Wait a minute. It's about support, service, and connection. We want to support you, support ourselves, serve you, serve ourselves, and connect. We want to have a group where we can if you want help, we can help you. We can do it's that's the main kind of reason we started this up.
Yeah, and with the Facebook page is that people can come and leave questions. It's just like-minded, soul-connected community, because there's a lot of bullshit going on in the world right now, and people are in fear and anxiety, and they don't know where to turn. They don't know why they keep creating the same thing over and over and over again. And Louise and I have changed our lives dramatically, unrecognizably. And so this is a beautiful place where we can just share our experiences, ask questions, have a beautiful meditation at the end, put you into a high vibration after the sessions. We just want it to grow organically. We have a structure, we have our intention, but basically it's just going to grow and evolve as it's an energetic entity itself. So we've tuned in to the energy of this group, and yeah, would love it to just evolve as it wants to.
Oh, thank you, Laura.
Thanks, Laura.
Mm-hmm.
So did you want to say something, Ella?
Jack?
No, I think I was just going to say that it's interesting what you were saying about so I feel like you're talking about when you're talking about what you see reflected in other people, it's like things that trigger you, for instance, are usually things that you haven't dealt with in your own kind of life. And that's been a really interesting journey for me because, I used to kind of really get triggered about quite a lot of things. And I think I've been on a bit of a journey, and part of that journey has been learning how to respond, not react, to pause when I feel like things are kind of rumbling up inside or whatever, and always when I pause, I have a different outcome, because you know, you're kind of like listening to your internal kind of like meter almost, and that kind of I don't know, it definitely produces a different outcome. And you know, you were talking about, you know, approaching people in a different way, and that's something that has been a big thing for me, particularly in sort of close family relationships. You know, we all get triggered by people in our families, and you know, I had particular issues with my mother and my sister, and you know, I'm kind of learning that there is a different way to approach this, and if you can get to a point where you can kind of, you know, I mean, I you know, I blamed my mum for so many things, and now I've got to a point where I can kind of approach her. I've kind of forgiven everything that I thought needed forgiving, and it doesn't really need forgiving, because actually she did the best that she could, you know, with the shit childhood that she had. There was a lot of trauma that kind of came out in her parenting, and you know, I can't blame her for that, because she wasn't in control at the time. So if you can kind of try and accept that, and accept that it's, you know, that it wasn't their fault, and come from a position of pure love, really, from source, you know, you get a completely different outcome. And I've really found that with my, you know, some close relationships. I'm not saying it's easy to do, it really isn't, you know, you kind of have to remind yourself all the time, okay, but actually you're quite right, you know, you do get, if you can really think about it and kind of switch it up a bit and think, okay, I'm going to approach this from a different way, not from anger or whatever, you know, you do get a different outcome. So, you know, everything that you're saying is kind of like at the level that I'm at the moment, and I know that my next step is to do a bit more shadow work and a bit more inner child work. So yeah, and this is good, this is great, this is right on a level for me.
Thank you. Jack, do you want to share?
Yeah, thanks, Ella. I think what you're saying is pretty much echoes what I'm thinking as well. But I had difficulty getting in as well, and my thing is that I always wait for someone to step in to help me. I didn't realize it until I started looking at myself. But it's like that makes me feel that I'm worthy. If I'm, you know, if someone steps in to help me, it's like they recognize my, you know, that I'm worth it. So it would be really easy for me to sort of like given up, because there was no one to help me this time. I couldn't run to someone and say, can you help me? And it made a difference, because I just took a deep breath. I thought, do I really want to do this? I really want to be part of this. Yes, I do. Do you want to give up because you're 10 minutes late? No, I don't. Because it doesn't matter. The fact is that I persevered and got here. And so I'm always, that's my sort of downfall, is that I end up giving up too early, or not thinking I'm capable of doing something by myself. And I think a lot of that comes from being a twin. I've always had my twin sister to fall back on. And we were away last week in Madrid, and everything went wrong, you know. I cocked up my booking, my Airbnb booking, and it's like she came up with all these solutions, but I didn't want to hear it from her, because I didn't want her to tell me what to do. So it was like I was caught in a double whammy of acting helpless, creating chaos, and then expecting her to bail me out. But because I'm supposed to be a grown up, I didn't want to admit to that. So, and then again, I just dipped breath and thought, what would I really love? I really would love for us to have a great week together, and for me to stop being such a dick, basically. So I just sorted it out, and she forgave me, because she could see that I was trying to be honest and trying to be good, and we ended up having a great time. But I could have basically made her life miserable for a week and blamed her for not helping me, and because that's probably what I've done in the past. So it's very interesting perspective to see how you can step out of where you actually are in a situation and think, do I really need to be doing this? No. Deep breath, and then go for what I really want. And yeah, so I think I think Ella said, actually, she did say it's hard because nobody can see your mind working like that until you vocalize it or take an action. People don't realize that you're going, you know, but so that's the hard bit, is the internal work and the internal practice. But if you don't do that, then it's like you don't oil the cogs, you don't keep yourself flexible enough to take a choice, make a choice. Yeah,
but it's just kind of practice though, isn't it? It's like the more you do it, like anything else, the easier it gets.
yeah,
you know?
exactly, because I knew the steps I was in when I was in Madrid. I knew what I was doing. So I stopped. As simple as that. Whereas before I would have had no idea. And Caroline would have just got upset with me, and we would have had shouting matches, and we'd have both ended up saying we didn't really enjoy that visit because, you know, we were both being immature. But in the end, well, not even in the end, a third of the way through, if you like, I stopped myself short and realized that I was creating it all and using her as an excuse. And she had no idea really, because I didn't have to explain it to her, because I just kind of woke up and realized what I was doing. And so you're by yourself, but you're not by yourself, because you sort of draw on your guidance. She said, when you, as Sharon said, you go in your shadow side and you see, and it becomes almost like a friend. You know, it's yeah, it's like a big mirror you look at, you think, I know what I'm doing here. And that's invaluable in work and life and everything. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting to know people in this group. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to it too. Because there's all these people that I don't really know terribly well here, who are all mates of Sherin's. See, I don't belong. I'm normally no mates. None of my mates have turned up except for Jack.
And Samantha.
Oh, and Samantha, sorry. Of course. Hello, Samantha. Bugger. Oops. I'm not quite normally no mates then. Yay.
But you know, another thing is when you, I mean, it's, you know, we trained in this work, we teach this work, we do coaching, but we, you know, when you understand why, or the belief system of somebody, or the Enneagram number and the personality type, and you understand why they do what they do, it just, and then like, you know, Jack was saying, you in your heart, you just come at it with love. It makes you a much more compassionate person to understand, you know, where is that person coming from? Like my ex-husband is I don't know if anyone knows Enneagram, but a number 3 on the Enneagram. They just work, go, do, because they want to be seen as like, my work is good. Look at me, I'm a good boy. You know, look what I'm doing, and it's all about being seen for what they do. And when I taught my children that he was a number 3 on the Enneagram, why Daddy does what he does, they just go, oh, you know, when he's got strange behavior and he's emotionally constipated and he can't express his emotions, they just go, oh, that's just Daddy and the number 3. You know, so it's important to have a level of self-awareness and an awareness and compassion for the people in your lives and the way that they are running their lives, because it just may be that they're very unaware to their behavior. You know, it's not up to us to say, listen here, matey, this is how you're behaving, this is what's going on. When I notice, when I start to change myself and I have an intention and I have an end result for that person, for my relationship with them, they start to change. Like he started to change and he relates differently to me now. And I suddenly start to get these, you know, offering this and offering that and offering me a place to stay in this beautiful apartment. I was like, hang on a minute, what's going on here? But it's because I do, like Louise was saying, I imagine a different relationship with him. I used to really put a lot of work into that, how I would love my relationship to be with him. I even saw him giving me a hug and being really proud of what I've achieved or accomplished, or, you know, me as a mother to my children. I started to imagine that a different relationship with him. And then he started responding to me in that way. I mean, it's really, it can sound quite unbelievable, but you can change the way that people relate to you just by imagining a different relationship with them. Because we're always producing information. And if you go, oh, that asshole, and oh God, I can't believe he's done that to me, then I'm going to keep on producing that. That is going to be my relationship with him, because words are spells, and he is picking up what I'm saying. He's picking up how I'm feeling. And he was really one of my biggest challenges. I was like, right, let's see if this works. Going to do the ex-husband. And it has. I'm getting, the most amazing, incredible, I'll say, warmth from him, and gifts and things, and in a way of, being able to stay in this apartment. But I didn't go, oh, I really want to stay in that apartment. I hope he gives me that apartment. It wasn't that. It was just changing the way I felt about him, and my relationship with him, and my relationship first and foremost with myself. If people are being kind to you, it means that you have found a place within you that you can find that kindness to yourself, or the love for yourself. And it does, it does take a lot of work, but it's a journey, and it can be fun. It's how we look at it. We look at it with fear and terror, or, oh my God, I don't want to see that. That's going to hurt. Or this is interesting. I'm going to explore that part of my shadow. I'm going to bring some light there, because that part of your shadow, that part of your personality wants to come out and be healed, wants to come out into the light. So, it's just the way that you look at that journey. And just, if we can leave you with, I'll leave you with that, is that if you want to have a different relationship with your children or people in your life, start to imagine it differently. Start to talk to them differently, start to feel about them differently. And if it's not worth it, then yes, don't do it. If you don't really desire it that much, there's no point doing that, wanting someone to change. But if you want to change that relationship, and you really feel strongly about that, then that's how you do it. You got to sleep every night imagining it differently.
That happened to me with my sister, because my sister never liked me very much, because I was born after her, and she never forgave me for being born, because I turned up and I was this little singing, because I used to be an opera singer, and I was this all singing, all dancing, all entertaining little entity as a child, and got all the attention from my family, I guess, in some ways, because I was funny as well. And she overheard my mother saying to me one time, we were having an argument. I was probably in my early teens. And she goes, oh, Louise, I don't know why you treat me like this. I've always loved you the best. And because my sister overheard that. And she never forgave me at all. I mean, I'm 68, she's 70 something, right? But she's never forgiven me for that. And all my life, I never realized, I was always trying to get her to like me. I was always trying to get her to approve of me. And she never did. And it was weird. It was always this weird relationship. And then recently I just let it go. I thought, oh, fuck it. If she doesn't want to like me, then whatever. She was always really weird towards me. And I thought, well, I'm just going to let it go. Just letting it go. I'm not even going there. And I've come back to England recently, and she was all over me like a rash. She wanted me to go and visit her, and they came down to Devon on holiday, and I was in Devon visiting my cousin, and I went over to see her every day at the beach, and she was all gorgeous to me. She was all love and light to me all of a sudden, and I'm like, holy crap, this stuff works. It was really, I mean, after all those years, she was actually being quite nice to me. So, and she never used to be nice to me at all. So that's a cool thing. One thing that I wanted to kind of do, can I do this now?
Yeah.
Talk about because it's like it's like what I think we should do is to set an intention of what we want to get out of being in the group. What do I want to get out of it personally? What do you want to get out of it personally? But not doing it with your rational mind, because your rational mind might say, oh, I want to do this because I need more money, or I want to do this because I need whatever else it, you know, we look at our lives from our rational mind and we can see various things that perhaps aren't quite right, that we would immediately jump onto and say, oh, we want it to be like that. But I thought it would be nice if I took you through a little meditation-y thing so that you can tune into it more from your intuition rather than from your rational mind, and set the intention from that space. So if you're all up for that, then I can lead you through that, which I would like to do. Yeah, is that all right? Am I allowed?
You're allowed. You have permission.
Do I belong here?
Do you belong here? Definitely.
Okay. Okay, so what I want you to do then is to just close your eyes. Just close your eyes and just notice your breath. And when you breathe in, just feel that breath going into your heart. Just breathe from your heart. Almost like you're breathing, you know, almost like you've got this other little nose hole in the center of your chest, and you feel the air going in into your heart. And then feel your body relaxing, just letting go of what's going on in your life, letting go of any expectation, just breathing and feeling your heart. Your heart center is your center of creation. And just really, really feel that connection with your heart. Love your heart. Send love to your heart. Your heart is also the seat of your intuition. And bring up, if you can, an elevated emotion while you're breathing. Bring up a feeling of gratitude or joy or love. And just feel that emotion in your heart. Just feel it. Feel your body relaxing. Feel your mind relaxing. And imagine yourself in that state, that open state of innocence, that state of the innocent child, that inner child within you that was open, that was ready, that was excited to be born. Just feel yourself in that state where anything is possible, where everything is probable, where everything you love exists. And just be, allow yourself to be in that state and revel in that state. Feeling it, being aware of your breath, feeling that exhilarating, elevated emotion of joy or gratitude. And now imagine in front of you a massive golden ball of light. See it in front of you, shimmering like a beautiful golden orb. And you're excited to see this golden ball of light. It's familiar to you. It represents your connection to your higher self and to the divinity within you. And you're going to take a walk towards this golden orb, and you're going to step through inside it. You're going to step into this golden orb of light. So just imagine yourself just walking into this golden orb, beautiful orb that surrounds your whole body. And imagine in there, this is where you're going to get that connection happening with your intuition, with your higher self. And just feel that connection, feel that intuition, feel that divinity around you. And in that beautiful state, ask to receive your intention for being a member of this group. What do you want from it? What do you want it to help you to create in your life? Feel the energy and the peace of it, the exhilaration of it, the anticipation of it, and the joy. And receive that intention of what it is that you would love to create or to manifest from being a member of this group. Bathing in this golden light, just let the intention come to you. Just let it come to you and embrace it and thank the higher self. And then for the rest of the time, it's your job to just feel the excitement and the joy of that, to live in the accomplishment of it, of this intention already being in existence. It's like your future self is already there, is already manifesting this intention. It's already happening. And that emotional state that you're experiencing now, endeavor to make this emotional state your new normal emotional state. And if you find yourself in a situation that's not so good, just go back into this state and let that guide you, let that state guide you. Living as if your future you is your present you. And so let it be. So be it. You can choose the lens that you want to look at your life through. So choose something that you love to look at life through. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back. Come back. It's all about vibration and frequency, isn't it?
That's
Whatever
beautiful.
whatever frequency you put out is what you get back, because like attracts like, and that's just quantum physics, isn't it?
Thank you, Lou. Thank you, ladies. We can sign off now.
Does anybody want to share what their intention is? Or would you like to keep it secret? No sharers? Okay, that's all right.
Okay, so we'll put the next one. Are we going to do this every 3 weeks? We felt a month was a bit too long, 2 weeks a bit too short. So we got 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Did we get
Yeah,
3 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll see you in the group, hopefully. And if there's any questions or if anything's coming up that that you're having you struggle dealing with, or you're not able to work through it, you can either direct message Louise or I, or put it in the group, and we'll talk to it. We'll help you to find a solution and give you some tools, because we all think that we're going through something on our own, but everyone's going through the same thing. And when you put something in the group, everyone benefits from it. So yeah, so let's put some communicate in the group.
Thank you, Sharon, for coming.
Yeah, bye, ladies. Thank you.
Lots of love to everyone. And